Shalom Aleichem everyone, hope everyone's having a good week. I'm a little bit torn about what to do in this week's Dvar Torah. On the one hand, B'nai Chutz La'aretz are reading Parashat Tazria Mitzorah. Here in Eretz Yisrael, reading a double Parashat as well, Acharei Kedoshim. I'm going to try and share an idea that will be Shaveh L'chal Nefesh, that will bridge perhaps the Parashat of Tazria Mitzorah with the Parashas of Acharei Kedoshim, maybe get a vision of Sefer Vayikra as a whole. So Parshas Mitzorah, Tazria, certainly they are dominated by the discussions of the consequence, the disease of tzaras. I'm not going to translate that as leprosy because I don't think that's the point. It's not really a physical disease, it's reflecting a certain spiritual malaise. And if you look at the structure of the Parsha in Tazria Mitzorah, you'll notice that first the Torah describes the tumah of tzaras haguf. Detailed discussion, Parashat Gimel, most of Parashat Gimel is dominated by tzaras haguf. Then we go to tzaras habegadim, the tzaras of the clothing. Then we go back to tzaras haguf and discuss how you can cure yourself from tzaras haguf, the way that the Kohen repairs, the person rehabilitates himself from tzaras haguf, presented to the Kohen makes an evaluation, he's set aside for a week or two, then he's sent chutz lamachane, then the process of tahara, the process of bringing karbanos, etc. So we have the, as I say, rehabilitation of the person who has a bodily tzaras, and then kind of as an afterthought, in an entirely new parshiya, seemingly totally separate, is the discussion of tzaras habayis and the cure for tzaras habayis. And my question is as follows, is why do we have this separation? If you want to tell me about each tzaras, its ailment and its cure, put that together. But you don't have that. You have tzaras haguf, then tzaras habeged, and then back to tzaras haguf. So either put the tzaras and its cure together, or perhaps you should link the tzaras haguf and its cure, tzaras habayis and its cure. Tzaras habegadim has no cure. You just have to destroy the begadim, burn the begadim. It seems that the Torah is setting apart the tzaras of the house and the tzaras ha-guf. And the question is why. So if you look at Chazal drew tremendous insights, but Chazal pointed out, again, tzaras is not a physical, regular disease. It's a reflection of something that is wrong inside the person. It's a reflection of a failure in midos. And we all know that Miriam Hanaviah spoke Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu. She received tzaras, and we all know the linkage between tzaras and Lashon Hara, and speaking ill of other people, slandering other people, etc. That's well known, but that's only true with respect to tzaras haguf. Tzaras habayis comes from a totally different reason. If you look at the Psukim describe that a person who finds tzaras on his household, he finds walls of the house starting to develop tzaras. So again, the Kohen is invited, but the first thing that has to be done is all of his objects, all of his household objects, his furniture, his dishes, his clothing, everything has to be removed from the house. Everything has to be taken out of the house, put on the backyard. After all, if not, then the whole contents of the house is subject to becoming tameh. And then, of course, the tzaras bricks get removed, get replaced, etc., and then everything can go back inside. Chazal understood, again, diukim in the psukim as well, that tzaras habayis comes from a different place. Take a look at the Gemara in Yuma, Daf Yud Aleph Mem Beis. There the Gemara describes that tzaras habayis comes from a person who is being miserly. I go to my neighbor, I say, can I use your lawnmower? Can I borrow some sugar? Can I borrow your vacuum cleaner? And the neighbor says, my lawnmower is broken. I don't have any sugar. No, I can't lend you my vacuum cleaner. It's being used by someone else now. So he makes up all these excuses that he can't go ahead and share his property with you. So say Chazal, the consequence of that kind of attitude, that my stuff, my house, my possessions is my domain, and I'm not prepared to share, I'm not prepared to give. So the consequence of that attitude, that midah of selfishness, is tzaras habayis. And now the bayis gets afflicted, and now I have to take everything out. So now my neighbor sees, oh yeah, I did have a lawnmower. Oh yeah, there was sugar in the house. Oh, there was a vacuum cleaner. It is there. and all of a sudden I am exposed, and my selfishness, my unwillingness to be part of the community is now revealed. And we show this person who is too into himself, too into his own house, that we are community people, that we have to be involved with others. And indeed, therefore, perhaps the two tzaras that we've been speaking about, tzaras haguf, tzaras habayis, are really two opposites. And they are two parshas because they're affecting two different types of personalities, two different personality flaws. The person who has tzaras haguf, so he is speaking lashon hara, he is trespassing on the space, on the personage of someone else. He's inappropriately attacking the person of another. He's improperly engaging in society. So what's our response to him? Our response to him is isolation. Leave the community for a week. Go chutz lamachaneh. Reflect about how you should behave within society. You're trespassing on your friend, on your neighbor, so we isolate you to realize that it's not appropriate. It's a midah keneged midah. Reflect how you can better engage in society by being isolated, by not trespassing, by being on your own. The person who is afflicted with tzaras habayis, it's the exact opposite. He is not engaging in community. He is not engaging others. He's not sharing. He is not a community person. He's being too much in his own house. So we open up his house. We reveal his house. We tell him, listen, you are part of the community, you're part of it, Tzibur. Look what happens. Your stuff is now open for everyone, available to everyone to see what you have. You need to be more community oriented, and you can be. Those are the afflictions of tzaras haguf and tzaras habayis. And in a certain sense, it's a beautiful segue into what you find in Parashat Acharei Kedoshim, because you'll notice in Sefer Vayikra in general, so the Sefer is divided into really two core parts. The first part is all the details of karbanos, Vayikra, Tzav, Shmini, karbanos, heavy duty kachim. And then we shift, at the end of Shmini, we shift into matters of Tumah and Tahara. But Tumah and Tahara, these impurities, they're not, as we mentioned, and Tzaras, Metzora, is a reflection of midos issues, is a reflection of our interaction with others. Are we too isolationist? Are we too encroaching other people's space? That's what Parshas Tazria Metzora about. And then as we move into the second half of Sefer Vayikra, we start talking about community. We start talking about how we're supposed to behave with others. Acharei Kedoshim, the end of Acharei, dealing with our sexual behavior and what's appropriate, what's inappropriate. Kedoshim is full of mitzvos bein adam lechavero. And then, of course, at the end of Sefer Vayikra, Bahar B'chukosai is national mitzvos bein adam lechavero, how we behave as a society with our avodim, shmita, batei arichomo, all of those various topics. So what emerges is Sefer Vayikra starts with Kedusha Kohanim, ends with Midos Ben Al Machavero, Tazria Metzora, is that bridge. We're moving out of the world of Kodshim, Taharos, into Midos, and that picks up in Acharei Kedoshim, because ultimately perhaps the message and vision of Sefer Vayikra is just like the Kohanim have their rules and their dinim. They can't become Tamei Lameis, they have Avodim Beis HaMikdash, but at the end of the day, all of us are Kohanim, because we are told, the Torah tells us, we are Mamleches Kohanim V'Goy Kadosh. We are a nation of priests, and the mitzvahs HaTorah are supposed to elevate us and bring us out, make those midos of kahuna, those priestly midos, are supposed to help them, draw them out, so that we can indeed be that Mamleches Kohanim V'Goy Kadosh. Shabbos.